The trailer for the new set, Wisdom of Sky and Sea, has just dropped, so we're going to talk about the cards that just got revealed. Okay, so first up is Lugia EX, so one of the flagships for this new set. 150 HP is good, and then it has a very weird attack, which is 1 fire, 1 water, 1 electric for Elemental Blast, which does 180, which is ridiculous. So we're going to one-shot most things in the game, but then discard a fire, water, and electric energy from this Pokemon to retreat cost. So pretty standard. So obviously it's a bit weird because it's a triple energy. So you may be asking, where does this energy come from? Well, because of this guy. So Ho-Oh EX, the other flagship. Same health, same retreat cost, also same type weakness. But 3 energy, Phoenix Turbo, so 80 damage, which is fine, I guess. Take a fire, a water, and electric energy from your energy zone and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So this is obviously how Lugia gets its energy. On top of that, this also, for example, let's pull up. We got Dragonite EX, so you charge a Dragonite EX. Also the Genetic Apex Dragonite as well, you can power that up with Phoenix Turbo, because it needs 1 water, 1 electric, and then 2 whatever. So that's another combination. The other thing is the text is you can attach them to basic Pokemon in any way. Oh, basic Pokemon, you say? Okay, never mind what I said about Dragonite. It's like, yes, I guess you can put it on a Dratini, but come on now. It's not impossible, but then who's sitting on a Dratini while you put energy on this? So it seems that Ho and Lugia are partners, and pretty much every flagship Pokemon, so the ones on the boosters, have always been good, with the exception of maybe Lunala. So it doesn't seem that strong, but they always seem to find a way to make it work, so who knows. Very quickly going to look over the starters. We got Chikorita 60-20, Cyndaquil 60-20, Totodile 60-20. Will we get EXs? We don't know. Empoleon's still waiting. Torterra's still waiting. So there's no guarantee they'll get EXs. Maybe one, maybe all of them, who knows. So now we have babies, in this case Pichu, 30 health, and then a 0 energy attack, which is the first of its kind. So Crackly Toss, take a electric energy from your energy zone, attach it to one of your bench basic Pokemon. So the good thing is weakness is nothing and retreat cost is nothing, which is going to help these things not just get one shot, because 30 health is fragile. I mean, we've got Type Null can do 40 on a coin flip. There are a few other things which can do 30. I know the like Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, they do 30. The Hitmonlee that hits bench does 30. Like it's a scary time to be 30 health, but also you're giving your opponent a point very easily. However, ramping is very good, but then you have to draw into this, ideally at the start of the game, then put something onto a basic, because the later this turns up in the game, the less chance you are running basics, and the more likely it is this is going to get one shot, so I'm not that convinced. And then we have a Cleffa. So Twinkly Core, put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. So this is Shiinotic, but it's a basic, which is great. But also Shiinotic has 90 health, despite being, this is also stage 1. It can also be offensive as well, whereas this one just does nothing. So it's going to depend on the evolution, although there is a bit of weirdness where there's nothing on this about how it evolves. So currently at the moment, you can't use the basic of the current Clefable or Pikachu with the baby, so that's a bit of a weirdness. A new Gyarados, and this one is like a shiny, but it's a shiny that's actually has like new stuff, which I don't think they've done before. So 130 health, cool, and then 2 energy for Wild Swing. You may discard any number of your benched water Pokemon. This attack does 40 more damage for each bench Pokemon you discard this way. So is this going to be like the Sweets Relay of this expansion? I don't know. 2 energy. The thing is, as long as Misty exists, you can do this pretty much straight away, and you wouldn't necessarily have to worry too much about ditching your entire bench. So this is also, we'll have to see if there's anything else that supports it. So Umbreon EX. So again, something people have been waiting for a while. 140 HP. 2 energy for 80 is not bad. It's absolutely fine. Sylveon does 70, and that's still pretty good offensively. 2 retreat cost is a bit sketchy. However, its ability, which is Dark Chase, so once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. Basically a free Cyrus, which is bonkers. This has like offense and the Dark Chase as well. And obviously you could use this and then flip out into something else. So I absolutely see day one decks with Umbreon EX. Next you've got Espeon, so 140 health. Again, 2 for 80, which is fine. And then Psychic Healing, so once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. Now, this does feel a little bit like Darkrai Cresselia, where they're meant to, not exactly, but they're kind of opposites. And Cresselia just wasn't quite as good, and it's the same with Espeon. Like, healing 30 is pretty good. Doing 80 damage is pretty good. But you have to be in the active slot to heal, so I don't know. On to the supporters now. So, because there was like a leak of an Italian trailer, like yesterday, everybody was, or there were a number of like made up translations, or translations that turned out to be wrong. I think pretty much all the trainers were. But anyways, Lyra, switch your active Pokemon that has damage on it with one of your bench Pokemon. So this is basically situational Leaf, but for like any retreat cost. Leaf has become quite niche anyway. Lyra is technically situationally better because you need damage on it, but usually you're probably trying to pull out something which is about to die anyway, so I can see the uses, and obviously it's because there's no limit on the retreat cost. I think you probably see people experimenting with like chunkier lists. Okay, we have Silver. So your opponent reveals their hand, choose a supporter card you find there, and shuffle it into your opponent's deck. Now, also talking about Lyra at the same time, supporter cards have to be really, really good now. Like, there's so much competition that if they aren't like uniquely, something like a Gladion uniquely works as Silvally, so you take it. If they're kind of, unless they have a very specific niche, or they're just winning you games. Sabrina, Cyrus, for example, they're not going to make the cut. And so your opponent reveals their hand. Cool, so it was hand information, nice. You choose a supporter card and you bin it into their deck. Which is fine, but is that better than Mars? Because Mars can just absolutely just crush their hand regardless. It's like, and you might get the supporter. You don't need to rely on having a supporter. You might catch it with Mars anyway. So while this is a decent effect, I don't know if it's good enough to make the cut. Rescue Scarf. So the first of the new items. So if this card is attached. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. Now this is interesting because I guess it sort of functions like Ilima. So the one thing it's not, I'm assuming you would get all the evolution cards back at the same time. So that's good. So if it was something like Ilima, then yeah, you would get your, for example, your Eevee and your Evolution back and you can start playing them again. Also, if you've got something tanking, it's like when the tank goes down, it just goes back in your hand and you can refresh it again. So obviously, yes, you're still losing at 1 or 2 points, but then if maybe if it has something like a really good natural ability, something which doesn't require the active slot to work, that could be interesting. This could be the best item we've seen so far from the set. So Elemental Switch. So move a fire, water, or electric energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So this is basically Dawn, but with specific energy requirements. But at the same time, it's an item. So you can combine it with Dawn, you can double up and switch like, you know, do 2 switches and throw 2 energy across. So Xerazora's decks were already using like 1 Dawn. I can see people just switching over, jokes, to the elemental switch, because why waste your supporter use? It's only going to get in the way. And then because and then I can only assume that this is going to affect other cards, is going to be important for other cards. So Ho-Ho's energy is fire, water, electric that it gives to other people, and then those can be sent to other things with elemental switch, so it's interesting. Lastly, something from the promotional materials, which is Togepi, 60 health, Charm. So during your opponent's next turn, attack choose by defending Pokemon do minus 20 damage, which is, who cares? I mean, obviously it's not terrible if you go second. You can sort of nullify a lot of damage, which is quite cool. Obviously it does imply the existence of a Togekiss line maybe again, so maybe we'll get Togekiss EX, that'd be interesting. So that's everything we know about the new set currently. So yeah, my name is Andy, I make videos about the competitive scene in Pokemon Pocket. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, maybe a little cheeky sub, and I will see you later, yeah?